Welcome, everyone, to Barely Friends podcast. My name is Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
And we're back. We're a little late. We apologize. Okay, life happens. But we're back and excited. We got a lot of content to cover because we've been out for a little bit. We're going to get started right off the bat. Breaking news, or starting news, I don't know. We've got awards coming up, okay? We got awards in the NBA, MVP, Rookie of the Year, NBA Coach of the Year, all that stuff. Eric, who are the candidates that are going to be voted on this year?
Yes, so for MVP, we got our top three. We got Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Bucks. We've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Thunder. And we've got Nikola Jokic from the Nuggets. So that's our top three.
Okay. And what about for coaches?
Coaches,
yeah.
We got Kenny Atkinson from the Cavaliers. We got JB Pickerstaff from the Pistons. And we got Ime Udoka from the Rockets.
Yes. So I know, Eric, you had noted here that we should have a poll, and I think we should have a poll on who y'all think should be MVP, should be Coach of the Year, et cetera, et cetera. We'll have one out, relatively soon before those. Do you know when the polls start or end?
I think actually for NBA, by the time we have our next episode, they'll probably have those results posted.
Okay.
But sometime this year, for season one of our podcast, we actually did do, like MVP, most underrated player, like all that stuff around this time of the year. So
Right.
it's gone time.
So we can get one. We can get one in before this next episode for sure. And hear what you have to say. And and that would be fun. That'd be good stuff. So we'll do that. Try to do that. But good. I mean, real quick for me, I love Jokic. I do. The Joker. Can't go wrong. But I got to go with SGA. Like to see a new face. And the number one in the West out of a loaded West. And that's probably my pick this year.
Yeah, I can see your point on that. I'd have to go more towards Jokic on this, just
Okay.
seeing consistency. I think he's an anomaly in the sense that I've never seen a center operate the way he does. And really, you can make an argument that he should be a three-time MVP. So I've just seen great consistency. The way he rebounds, the way he passes, he just seems like the complete player. And if I'm thinking about most valuable, to me, if I had to pick like a lineup like in a gym, like who am I picking for my team? He's the guy I'm picking. So
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And then Coach of the Year, really, I think you couldn't go wrong with either of those three coaches either. They've all done a fantastic job. So
yeah, I mean, Cavaliers, Pistons, and Rockets, I feel like they all, I don't want to call them overachievers in the sense like they're not a good team, but I'll say that they beat a lot of people's expectations compared to last year. So it's really tough for me to pick between these three, but I'd probably lean more towards the Pistons.
yeah, Pistons. We'll talk about we're gonna talk about the playoffs later in this podcast. But they have. I mean, risen. They were pretty much last season, those several seasons, and a playoff team and fought hard this year. So can't go wrong. Now, who else fought hard this year but not in basketball, in WWE? John Cena. He just recorded his 17th World Championship with the help of nonetheless Travis Scott. So you gotta give props to John Cena. Can't see me. I didn't want him to win. I really didn't. I was rooting for Cody Rhodes. But is he the GOAT now? Is he the GOAT of WWE, Eric, as a WWE fan? Can you share your opinion on that?
Yeah, so of course, 17, 18 titles, that's a number on the screen. But when you think about impact, like he's held those titles for so long and he's won so many important matches that he just like, when you think about WWE, you think about pro wrestling, you think about John Cena. You don't think about Ric Flair. Woo! Just kidding. But when I think about, the WWE growing up, everything, this is the guy. He's got charisma. He's a great public speaker, great wrestler. Like he's just a full package. So in my opinion, I think he's the undisputed GOAT.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really argue with that. Also because I don't have any stats to, I don't have any other stats other than championships, and he has the most. So, again, congrats to John, and but it looks like Randy Orton is slithering around trying to get him at Backlash. What is it, this weekend?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. So that'll be fun. It's kind of throwback. They were, kind of a huge rivalry, so that should be fun. And we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I guess. Who do you think could possibly dethrone John Cena now that he's this ultimate champion?
Man, there's a lot of great athletes in the WWE who I mean I'm trying to get away from script who actually Triple H would want to who can actually get it. Heck, why not Roman Reigns again? Why not Roman Reigns? He's ticked off. So is CM Punk about the rejection from Paul Heyman. Could be, more likely Roman Reigns. Maybe LA Knight because he just lost his United States Championship. I like his flair, no pun intended. And he likes Slim Jim. So those are my couple off the bat.
Yeah, it's pretty solid short list.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I can see Roman Reigns. He hasn't held a championship now for at least a year, and he's a big dog. He's ready.
Mm-hmm. Oh
He's
yeah.
the face.
I know.
Yeah.
Was for a long time, and still is, but now he's on a different road now. So, last but not least, this is breaking news. Damian Lillard has torn his Achilles tendon, and is out. Spoiler alert: the Bucks are out for the season as well. But this brings up a question that you had, Eric. Does Giannis stay, or does he go? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd really need some more introspection into the mind of Giannis. I thought he's really stuck it out for the Bucks for the last, I'm gonna say, around 8 seasons. Around that, they won a championship together. He's done a great service to the organization. But at this point, you got Damian Lillard. They gave up Drew Holiday. They lost a lot of key players, and you'd expect on paper this time to be a championship contending lineup. But you have Doc Rivers, you have Giannis, you have Damian Lillard, and that hasn't been the case. They actually, for one point, they were almost out of contention for this season. And, they were NBA Cup champions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely, a good takeaway. But I feel like if you're looking at the long-term future, he may be better off going somewhere else.
Yeah, one place I saw a team that I spoke about, a player that I spoke about a lot in this season of the podcast was Spurs. And if he went to the Spurs, that is a legitimate big three. And remember when I talked about them climbing like the Thunder, and someone got upset with me because the Thunder aren't the same as the Spurs, and I agree. But if Giannis went to the Spurs, you would see a huge ascension of the Spurs and potentially another dynasty that you could say a lot of teams in the West could have a dynasty, but it's so loaded. But if he went to the Spurs, they'd be really good.
Oh yeah,
really good.
And Giannis is still relatively young in my opinion.
Yep.
He's 32 maybe, around that age, but he's got a good 5 more years of his prime. And you have Wembanyama, who you're very big on, I know.
Yep.
And you have is it DeAndre Ayton or no De'Aaron Fox?
De'Aaron Fox, yes. Yep.
So that could be a possible big three.
100%. You have those two guys in the front court, Giannis and Wemby, who could dribble the ball. Like you got 3 point guards, 2. Yeah, it would be really, really fun to watch. So we'll see what happens with those two and Giannis. But now we must move on to the playoffs, the NBA playoffs. The first round has ended. Okay, the first round has ended. Second round has actually started. The Pacers have already beaten the Cavs 1-0, which is a surprise, at least to me. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're going to go through the East series and the West series. We're going to highlight some of the bigger matchups that at least we think happen, and we'll talk through those. But first, we got to start with the Celtics Magic. Won their series 4-1. Pretty typical, right? No surprise there. At one point, Jaylen Brown said during after Game 3, the Magic physicality was, quote, not even basketball. Okay, I don't want to hear excuses now. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to hear anything. So that's that. So I guess for me, Eric, I guess I'll start with, the Magic. I guess, and I saw some stats in the regular season. They were the toughest team for us in terms of 3-point shots. Like, we made the least amount of 3-point shots against them. So I don't know what they did, but they did it well. Obviously, they beat us one game, and but I think that even throughout this whole series, we didn't shoot well from the 3-pointer. They were very physical. Some plays, like, nothing I don't think was out of outside of basketball, like nothing was dirty. But they hit us hard sometimes. Porzingis had that big cut on his head. That was big. But I don't think Jaylen Brown with the whole physicality comment. I don't know. I'm just like, guys, just take him away. Like, up your physicality too. Like you can like nudge him back. You guys are bigger and again better basketball players. So I don't know why I don't want to hear excuses about that. So that's my first point. I'll let you talk about the physicality and all that stuff.
I did see the cut on Porzingis. I can't recall what play he got it on. I know that the cut, like, it's not necessarily going to impact him for the future, of course.
Right.
But yeah, the Magic, you mentioned the physicality. You mentioned, of course, we're bigger. They're better players. I honestly don't know why last year the Magic had our number for that early part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have Banchero, they have Wagner, but, they have the bigs, we have the guards. And if you shoot threes and we get those threes, we're in good shape. But I think maybe the reason why they have an edge on us is just like the Porzingis area where he may be hurt. He has to kind of like play a little more tight, looser. So just like having that edge in the paint may be something for the Magic.
Yeah, and the other thing, I don't think we had Drew Holiday for most, if not all, of this series either. I think he's coming back tonight against the Knicks, but I don't think Drew was there a lot. So yeah, I don't know. The other thing I'll mention, okay, I haven't talked bad about Joe Mazzulla really this season. I would say, correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't talked about right. I've been good compared to last season at least.
Yeah,
I've been good.
Yeah.
Well, it may turn today, okay, because I was not a fan. I watched probably games 3 and 4 the most. I was not a fan of the offense, and it was less about his whole mentality with the 3-point shot and always chugging on. Like that's gonna be his game. That's gonna be his thing. But the other thing is, there's a lot of iso ball, a lot of one-on-ones with Tatum and Brown, and they can do that. Like they have the capability. They are flat-out superstars, so like they can do that at times. But the lack of ball movement kind of ticks me off. The lack of ball movement, because if you get more ball movement, you'll have better shots for the 3-point shot, and you'll make more because there'll be more open shots and whatnots. But just the lack of ball movement, and I don't know. I think it all falls on Joe, but also Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have accountability because they're the ones doing the ISO, and they probably think that it's fine, more so than not to play this ISO ball. But this team is capable of playing, a faster, more ball movement type of basketball that can help the whole team. So that's the one knock I saw from the series that I think needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, I mean, a team like the Knicks, of course, I think they're stronger than the Magic. No surprise there. But, Brunson, Cat, and I can't recall too many of their other players, but those two guys will be impactful against the Celtics. And like I said, the big knock I have is Porzingis. We had the playoffs last year. Porzingis missed, I want to say 12, 13 games for us. And that's when we need them the most. And he was out. So you have a guy like Cat, who I think is one of the most underrated centers in the league. And Brunson, who's the clutch player of the year. So between those two combinations, I think that we need more ball movement for the Celtics and just be cautious about their centers, Cat and who else they have in their depth.
Sure, yeah. You got Mikal Bridges. You got, I just had him, OG Anunoby. Their length and their size defensively is there. With this upcoming series against the Knicks, I'm honestly not worried. I'm honestly not. I have them winning in 5 games. I would be surprised if it went to a game 7. This was a question on ESPN's First Take, so I'm going to steal it from them. But it was more likely, do they go 7 games, or more likely the Knicks get swept? And I would go the route of being swept because they haven't beaten the Celtics at all this year, and why would that change? I don't see why that would change. I don't think there's going to be too many adjustments from Thibodeau, even though he's on the hot seat as a coach. So.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm really just pulling at strings for different analysis, but I think Celtics got this. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't have any doubts that they can beat the Knicks. And I know, like, talking about the whole league in general, I would say the biggest threats to the Celtics are, of course, the Nuggets. They played the Nuggets early this season. They've matched up against them in the past as well. And it's really just been an NBA Finals series that hasn't happened that looks like it may happen in the future.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the Thunder, who are young, starting to, reach the prime of their careers in the NBA. And they show promise of being in the finals, as most people have them favored to get into the finals.
Yeah.
So that's my top two teams to worry about.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the West. It's all about West. We should be able to, even the Cavs, who again just lost to the Pacers. We should be able to slide into the West with no issues there. Let's get back to the Knicks series against the Pistons. 4-2. Pistons blew a lead in Game 4 against the Knicks. Refs also missed a blank call, I think, in that game that cost Tim Hardaway Jr. 3 free throws, which could have changed the tide of the series completely.
Yeah.
So that was big. But Knicks come out at the end, win the series. But let's give props to the Pistons. All right, let's give some props. To the Pistons. Last time on the podcast, we were kind of joking about them quite a bit. Maybe more so myself than you. So maybe I should say myself.
I think they're actually the Barely Friends, like, worst general manager, worst franchise award.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That they did win that. This year, we're not talking crap about them. They have deserved every little bit. Cade Cunningham has deserved to be an All-Star. And it looks like with JB Bickerstaff coaching this team, looks like they can make some noise down here moving forward. And they've got that. They're not the bad boy Pistons. There never will ever be a bad boy Pistons team, especially now in this NBA era. But they've got a little. They got some edge to them that will favor them against most teams, in the NBA. So props to the Pistons, props to Detroit. They've got a future in Cade Cunningham, and let's see, hopefully their general manager will provide them with more weapons as well. So.
Yeah, I do know they got to the Game 7, but definitely that ref call that a lot of people feel they missed, that, the 3 free throws, that might have altered the course of the series. Like, maybe the Pistons could have been the champions for that series.
Yep, and then we would have played the Pistons, which would have been interesting. Do you think if the Pistons would have played us, you think you would have been a little more worried than the Knicks?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep, like, a non-partial view because, like, we're from the Boston Celtics.
Sure.
But, like, I don't see any competition.
Sure. I agree. I say this less about them versus Celtics, but more so about the Knicks. I think Pistons would be more likely to give us a Game 6 than the Knicks. That's what I would say.
I feel it's a hot take.
I will say it's a hot take. Came hot because I think they would play similar like they would the Magic did with us, but with a better overall team. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. That's my thoughts. I don't know. Again, we could probably punk them. Like the
Yeah, my biggest concern is same thing. Porzingis, he needs to stay healthy. Drew Holiday, I don't think he's facing anything long term. But as long as you have a starting 5 who are healthy, and then we have Pritchard, Al Horford, all those guys, this team, I think, is a championship team.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. Even with Joe and his little miscues. No question about it.
There's a reason why he's not coach of the year.
Yeah. Oh man. Got him. That was big. That was a big Joe, I hope you're watching. That was for you.
JK.
Cavs Heat. Nothing really much to talk about there. Swept them 4-0 in dominant fashion. Cavs again lost in this introduction, this first series in the second round. 1-0 the Pacers. Biggest threat in the East, but again, do we really see him as a threat? I don't think so.
I think this series is more about seeing this Miami Heat team that was once the Celtics' greatest rivals and seeing them collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember, years ago, like back in the Eastern Conference Finals that they played in, that was 2 years ago. But, a lot of Heat fans were really high on Celtics fans, and there was that block from Derek White and just a lot of great moments in that series.
Yeah.
And now seeing the Celtics continue their longevity of being the top team in the East versus the Heat now going through a rebuild, I just feel like that's like two paths, and the Heat are on the downside of that path.
Yeah, and I think the Heat were a 10th seed, if I'm not, because they play in tournament. Maybe I'm wrong in the 10th seed, but obviously they made it to the 8th seed, and they usually thrive. They usually thrive 7, 8 seed. They're usually, again, when they play us in the Eastern Conference Finals, they were 8 seed or 7 seed, something like that. I feel like the last 5 years they've been a 7 seed.
Yeah.
And they've done well. But this year, Tyler Hero cannot pull them away. Jimmy Butler leaving was huge. So yeah, no surprise there. Where did he go from there? I don't know. I mean, Giannis is that's a potential landing spot for him for sure. I would much rather see him in San Antonio, so that he would be out of our skin in the East.
Yeah.
But
no, I think they're going to a dangerous zone because, like you said, they're an 8th seed team. Usually, I'd say year by year they're around like the middle of the pack, but they're getting toward that dangerous territory where they don't have Jimmy Butler, and like you said, they're Tyler Heroes, essentially their big player, their franchise star.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now you can't build around him, so it's one of those destinations where it looks less attractive because of just the weapons they have available,
Right.
and they're really not in position to do well in the draft, but also not in position well enough to do well in the playoffs. So they're getting towards that dangerous middle ground.
Right. Yeah. And then what do you think? What about Eric Spoelstra? He's a fantastic coach. He's great.
Yeah.
But these last 5 years, again, the team has been making it through the 7, 8 seed for the most part. Now they barely got into the playoffs again, and they got swept.
Yeah.
So,
well, my hot take is I actually think Eric Spoelstra's a better coach than Popovich.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow. What do I want to hit for that? Oh yeah, this one. I forgot. It's been so long. I forgot where the buns were at. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. You say that now because Popovich. How do you say that now when Popovich just is going to be team? How do you do that?
Yeah, I know.
That's
I know it's
crazy.
bad timing.
That's crazy. Wow.
Don't mean to be insensitive.
That seemed very intentional. I don't know about that.
But Popovich, what I do respect about him is I think he was in some kind of management role with the Spurs, and they lost their head coach, and he's like, I'm going to be the head coach now. And people were mad about that. They're like, this guy does not the coach. And then he goes on to be like one of the greatest coaches of all time. But with Eric Spoelstra, I also respect his path because he started as the team video assistant, and he worked his way up. And I know he had LeBron, he had Dwayne Wade, he had a good artillery, but then he rebuilt, and he took Jimmy Butler's team, to the finals as well in like 2020, 21. So I thought he did a good job of rebuilding the Heat in a fairly quick amount of time, and he's worked well with what he's had.
Yeah, and we've seen in recent years, it doesn't matter if you have a big three, Brooklyn Nets, Phoenix Suns. You can't get carried sometimes, even when you have all the All-Stars. Coaching matters too, so you gotta give props to Eric Spoelstra. Last series in the East, Bucks Pacers. Why are you laughing already? It was so funny. I don't understand.
They have a great rivalry going on.
They do. They got something going on. Pacers, yeah, just dominated this series. Maybe should have even swept them. Doc Rivers is not him. Okay, he's kaput. He's got to retire. And then Giannis and Halliburton's dad got into it. Okay, end of the last game, Game 5. They were at heads, literally at heads with each other. I'll be honest. When I first saw that, I didn't see the huge deal with the dad going on the court, and I'm like, his son won, like it's his father, what do you, like, let him cook. But then it's like, oh, then you can have any other fan go, then you can have any other dad go and do the same thing to a star. I was like, okay, all right, I got it. But man, I thought the Bucks would put a little bit more of a fight. That's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, I also agree Doc Rivers is not the guy. He did great in 2008, but it's been 16 years, so yeah. I'd say I honestly didn't get to watch too much of the series. I don't know exactly why the Pacers were able to combat the Bucks so well, but it does start with coaching right away. Doc Rivers, once again, he's bounced from team to team, and I know that they made a lot of very quick decisions in management to just I think they went through 3 coaches in the span of a year.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if it was backstage issues or whatever it was, but I just feel like they have to stay consistent.
For sure. Yeah. Again, Damian Lillard out for the season. What is his injury gonna be? How impactful is that gonna be for him moving forward? The Bucks got a lot of questions that they'll have to answer this offseason, and we'll see where they go. Pacers, again, they just beat the Cavs 1-0. Halliburton, Miles Turner, Buddy Hield. Oh no, sorry, Warriors now. Warriors.
Yeah.
Buddy Hield. Whoops. But again, not scared of the Pacers. Not scared of the Pacers for the Celtics. But I guess they could pull up an upset on the Cavs. I didn't expect they would take game one. So very interesting there.
I know that last year a lot of people were saying that the Celtics, the reason why they won is because they had so many other teams with injuries. And so far, I think the Magic were healthy. No injured stars. Tonight they're actually playing the Knicks. Their guys are healthy. Eventually we're gonna play either the Pacers or the Cavs. If we do win the series, which we're pretty confident about.
Pretty confident.
But so far, I think all stars in both teams, like all Eastern teams, have been healthy.
Yes.
So I just think the narrative of last season is gonna get destroyed. And circling back to Halliburton's dad.
Okay. Let's do it. Sure.
So you play basketball.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And high school GLCPS Royals captain, and also you're still involved for a different amateur team right now.
Sure, yeah.
So let's say hypothetically your dad was at a game watching, and after the game he just came onto the court and walked up to the other team's top scorer or whatever, and just went head to head with him. How do you react to that?
Yeah, I would be pretty pissed. Yeah, when you bring up something like that, when you bring it personal, yeah, not especially a little league, game, but even in professional level, I sometimes lose the human aspect and think these all-stars are, I don't know, just NBA players, but the people obviously. So yeah, I'd be pissed. Yeah. I'd be embarrassed too. I'd be embarrassed both.
Yeah, because I think Halliburton, he kind of felt that way. He was apologizing to Giannis, to what I saw.
Yeah.
But no, I think it may possibly limit opportunities for others in the future to go on court. Hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like Halliburton's dad, he's not. That's not his game. He's not. It's his son, but it's not his place to butt in.
And too, the other thing is it's round one. It's not like he won this championship. If he won the championship, I think almost all bets are off. To an extent, wins his first championship, whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But first round one series, okay, got it. But celebrate at home or something. All right, we're in the same segment here, but I'm going to hit the chimes button because I love the chimes button. But we're gonna move on to the West here. Okay, move on to the West. Whew. What? Lakers Wolves. 4-1 Wolves. Okay, Anthony Edwards is a beast. Anthony Edwards. I know you talk about Tatum being the face of the league. He is there. But Anthony Edwards, he's got some pressure on him. Okay, Anthony Edwards got pressure on him. Nico Harrison too loves this. Okay, the whole trade. Luka being Laker. Everyone hated him. Everyone hates him. Still hates him as a Dallas Mavericks fan. But Luka was a liability defense. And I'm going to speak a little bit more on this in my one in the world. But did you expect, Eric, a 4-1 dominant series that the Wolves pulled off against the Lakers?
I was very surprised. I know that the Timberwolves were recently, very close to the finals last year, and they switched up their personnel, getting Julius Randle. So they made those key moves. The Lakers, I know they've lacked a big man presence, and throughout this podcast, I keep mentioning big man. But I do think that lacking Anthony Davis really did hurt the Lakers, especially trying to get that championship run. At the same time, Doncic, in my opinion, is still at an MVP level, and LeBron James is performing amazing at past 40. So I was very surprised that they didn't get to Game 6 or Game 7, but I'm also not surprised that the Timberwolves were able to do so well against the Lakers.
Yeah, I had the Timberwolves being a top 5 seed after, the Julius Randle trade, and they were probably 7th, 8th seed on average this whole season. And they climbed back up, we're a 6th seed. But I saw this matchup in the playoffs, and I'm like, this might have been the worst first round matchup. Unless it was a Thunder. But this might have been the first, other than that, the worst matchup for the Lakers. Especially matchup. You have Rudy Gobert. They have no center to guard him. Shot blocking. They have no one to really penetrate the paint as much. Timberwolves have length. They have a superstar in Anthony Edwards. This was really a nightmare matchup. And the Lakers, because of the trade, because again, Luka got rid of assets on the bench. And they had literally game 2 or game 3, JJ Redick said, nope, I'm not playing anyone in the second half. Only my 5 starters. And you can't win like that. So that's one thing, the talent. And then, the Lakers going from here with Luka, with his defense being non-existent pretty much, they have to get pieces, center, other defensive rotation in the bench, and then LeBron. What happens with him? Is he says he's uncertain about the future. So that's
you just brought up a good point actually. So I know reports are coming out that LeBron is up for a new contract soon. And there are reports already saying that he's not willing to take a pay cut for the team. And I mean, he's not entitled to, he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you're this championship player who, very much is conscious about his legacy and, giving so much to the game, would you make any strategic moves involving your contract or recruiting players to put it together for that next run?
I mean, I don't know. I recall Tom Brady, who took pay cuts left, right, and I don't know, won the most Super Bowls as a player in NFL history. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he wants to, because right now his legacy is going downhill as we speak. If it's about getting one more ring or whatever, getting more rings, there's less time, LeBron. You got to figure this out, and you need more players, which means one of the ways you can help is by taking a pay cut. So
yeah, I guess the thing that upsets me about him not being able to take a pay cut is that he's a billionaire, and you do need money to survive, but he's at a point where it really doesn't matter.
Not that much money, man. Not that much.
You have money, but you cannot buy a championship ring. You got to earn that. And if you already have $1 billion, just take the pay cut. And if you end up winning the championship, you're gonna get a ton of money, endorsements and deals and SBs and whatever else comes your way. But I think in order for you to get those opportunities, you need the pay cut to get those other players like Doncic and I'm not sure who's up for contract, but any big free agent like Giannis or Kevin Durant who needs that salary.
Yeah, I mean, then it begs the question: is LeBron serious about winning another ring? I'm not gonna answer that. I'm not gonna answer that. Yes, but with what you just said, I don't think it's definite. We'll see what he wants to do. Well, the Warriors did. They said something against the Rockets. Won in Game 7, 4-3. Eric, you have talked about the Warriors a lot and not in a good light. What do you say now about them beating your Rockets?
So first off, I want to say I'm proud of the Rockets.
Yeah, you got to start out there. You can't start with the Warriors first.
Yeah, I knew you all when you were wee small, just young 21, 22 college students coming into NBA, and I loved covering that team as my first destination. So really proud. And for the Warriors, I have to admit, I was wrong. Steve Kerr did not get fired, and they did not miss the playoffs. Draymond Green, he honestly might still leave. But no, I was wrong with that prediction. I still don't like the team.
Yeah.
I think that Jimmy Butler did save them a bit, just coming over to Golden State and propelling them a little bit. But I personally can't see this team making it to the conference finals. So that's my new gatekeep. I'm moving the goalposts. They're not making it to the conference finals.
So next matchup would be Wolves and Warriors. So you got the Wolves then.
I got the Wolves.
Okay. I got the Wolves too. I don't want to see the Warriors with Jimmy Butler in the finals because then it's against us, and I don't want that. I don't want that mesh there. But if I'm just going based on talent and better matchups, I think Timberwolves have a better team, and I don't know what happened in the regular season, but I think the Wolves will be prepared and will be fine. I think defensively too, they'll be flying and they'll be good. I know the Rockets were good defense, but I think they were a little over aggressive at times, and had too many open shots for all the Warriors. So can't do that. Can't do that into Warriors. Another game 7 here. Nuggets Clippers. The Joker reigns. He won game 7. I didn't really keep tabs too much in the series. All I saw was a lot of memes about James Harden and losing his beard because he wasn't clutch again or something. You go back to the Rockets and him not being clutch. So I don't have too much about the series except the Joker is a beast and deserves to be in the next round. And he'll be going up against the Thunder. Spoiler, not really spoiler because they swept the Grizzlies. But he'll be going up against the Thunder, and that should be a very fun series.
Yeah, well, my prediction is whoever wins this next series between Nuggets and Thunder, like that's gonna be your Western champions.
Okay.
So that's my big prediction. I think Nuggets have an amazing team. I think Clippers have an amazing team. Oh, not Clippers. I don't. I think Nuggets have an amazing team.
Yeah.
I think Westbrook's incredibly underrated, still being at his age, still mid to young 30s. I think he's gonna be a factor in the series. I think, of course, Jokic's gonna be an amazing factor. And just the Thunder, I'll agree they have a great team this season, but I just think they don't have enough experience.
Yeah. Thunder, again, swept the Grizzlies, 4-0, kind of expected. Ja, I don't even know if I want to say tried his best because I don't know. I don't know if he was relevant, but Thunder Nuggets. I think if the Nuggets win and the Timberwolves win, last year the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets, and I think that was a little bit of a surprise. They could have similar problems because of matchups. That would be a little tricky. But if it were Thunder and Wolves, I would probably lean towards the Thunder. I guess I'm a little bit on this hype train with the Wolves, and so I'm like, I don't know, maybe they'll make it through, but I think it's Thunder for me if they make it, and then Nuggets Wolves would be a toss-up for me. To conclude, the second round looks like Cavs Pacers again. Pacers are up 1-0. Knicks Celtics tonight. I think there's another game on too, but I forget. Nuggets Thunder and Wolves Warriors. That's your round 2 matchups. Stay tuned for those NBA matchups. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good round. Oh, and I just real quick, I want to say, I thought the physicality from what I've seen from highlights and again Celtics Magic, I don't think I've seen that in a long time in like a first round of playoffs from the NBA. So I like that. That was nice. That was it was enough. There was chippiness. There was beef. Some people wanted to fight. Dillon Brooks and Draymond Green. Of course. I mean, that's expected. But I like the physicality. Yeah, hope it's back permanently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure this will bring some more highlights as we get closer to the championship. More hungry arms and faces and everything get involved.
100%. Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL draft. It's been some time. This draft, Eric, was interesting for one reason only. Shedeur Sanders. Didn't get picked to the 5th round, and the Cleveland Browns out of all teams. Drafted him. And not only did they draft him, but they drafted a quarterback before him in the same draft. So, I don't know. Your takes on the whole Shedeur Sanders thing.
Yeah. You may recall, but I actually texted you a day before, I think it was day 2 or day 3 of the draft. And I said, oh, Browns are picking Sanders.
You did, yes, you did. Because then you texted after when he did get picked. Yeah, I got it right. You did, yeah.
Yeah, but my logic behind that is the Browns really don't have a franchise quarterback right now. They made a lot of terrible quarterback decisions in the past. They also took a big gamble on getting Deshaun Watson, in the sense that he had a lot of controversy and things he was facing at that time. As an organization, they made a lot of controversial decisions, and I just felt like Sanders fits the mold of what's trying to go after. Sanders, I'm not going to say he's a horrible player. I'm also not going to say he's a great player. I think he's a decent mid-level quarterback.
Yeah.
But obviously, he doesn't deserve to go like round 4 or 5, whatever it was.
Yeah. I agree with you that the Browns, it makes sense that the Browns picked him. What doesn't make sense is that they picked another quarterback before him, Dylan Gabriel, something like that, from Oregon. Now they have 5 quarterbacks. They have Deshaun Watson, they have Dylan Gabriel, they have Shedeur Sanders, they have Kenny Pickett, who was a first-round pick for the Eagles, who didn't pan out, and then they have Joe Flacco, who is a nice veteran. He's picked up teams recently. Like he's pretty good, but he's just a backup. So I'm just worried for Shedeur Sanders in the sense that I don't think this organization knows what they're doing, especially at the quarterback position, and so they may ruin him really quick, in my opinion. So, but
yeah, I guess you just gave me 5 quarterbacks. 3 of those quarterbacks are pretty solid. Like, how would you do your depth chart?
If I were to do it, okay, so I'm gonna take into account the torn Achilles, and say Deshaun Watson doesn't play for half the season. Okay, so he's not in my starting. He's not in my lineup. I'm probably going Joe first, then Shedeur, then Kenny, then Dillon. And the only reason why I put Shedeur, I guess, that high up is because I think he's got the talent and is, NFL ready to make that next leap, if needed. But I think being behind Joe for a little bit and learning from him, out of all those guys, I think Shedeur will learn the most, and I think will make the most impact than Gabriel or Kenny Pickett. So that's what I'll say. But I mean, even if Deshaun Watson were healthy, I mean, I can't. They're gonna play him because they paid him a boatload of money. But that is so tough what you do with him moving forward as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely tricky. I think that Sanders will see at least one NFL game this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he definitely needs some kind of mentor or some kind of experience in order to really reach the fullest potential. I think that the reason why his draft stock, went down so quickly is because his dad, Deion Sanders, Hall of Famer, he's got, I think, a World Series ring, a Super Bowl ring. So he's an amazing athlete, and he's prime.
Yeah.
But you get to him in his college career. I don't think Colorado's really made too much noise in, winning championships or anything in that regard. And he's really kind of, marketing his son as this big star. And I think that he is getting blackballed by the NFL in a way because they don't, like to see him have that leverage.
Yeah.
And they're trying to send a message that they don't want this LeVar Ball situation having the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think they want Deion Sanders being a bigger voice than these, particular owners. Because Deion, again, has huge say, and he just has so much. He has a lot of attention and gets a lot of eyes. So I don't think teams want that necessarily, even if it's good attention. I don't think teams. That's why the Cowboys didn't even pick him, because their owner wants all the attention and it doesn't even want his own team players to be involved. So
yeah, I was gonna say the Cowboys passing on him is crazy.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. I mean, Dak Prescott is still good, but I mean, you could sit behind him for a year or so and learn and be a decent backup because that's how everyone treated him, as a backup. So, Shedeur. And real quick, I'll just say for the Patriots draft here, I thought they did well. They got number 1 pick was offensive lineman, I think offensive tackle. They got a really good running back from Ohio State and a decent wide receiver. They pretty much unloaded on offense. They said, we got free agents for defense, this offseason. Like, we feel good there. And we got Mike Vrabel, who's savant on the defensive end. We need to surround Drake May with, X, Y, and Z. And that's what they did. So I'm pretty happy with what the Patriots did.
Yeah, I did see ESPN gave him a or A- rating for the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty solid. Will Campbell, I've heard a lot of good things.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. I think we can make the playoffs. I think you know what? I'm gonna say we're gonna make the playoffs. Yeah. I'm not saying 6-7. I'm not saying we're gonna go anywhere, but I'm saying we'll make the playoffs. Wild card. That's my prediction. Maybe bold, but that's my prediction. Oh, and then Eric, you had here, and I didn't know this. Number one pick, Cam Ward, deservingly so. But I don't know if he deserved getting an unretired jersey number from War Moon to use. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a really great gesture on Warren Moon's part. And I think that, Cam Ward does deserve to be the number one draft pick. I'm looking forward to seeing him play for the Titans, and I hope he makes a big impact on the team. But he really has to make sure that he really fills the shoes of this number because they are unretiring it for him. So he's got to make sure he elevates and gets to that level they, are putting this trust in him.
Yeah.
And I think that he will be a good quarterback for the Titans, just as way he carries himself and the way I've seen highlights. So I'm looking forward to see how he does and hope he does well.
He better be better than Will Levis, than mayonnaise Will Levis, okay? Because that was a monstrosity right there. So I mean, hey, good for him. I mean, you got the Warren Moon approval. So, but that's shoes, like you said, that's shoes to fill. So we'll see what that happens. Let's move on. Now, this segment is usually our One in the World segment. But today it's going to be our Eric's World segment. Okay, it's going to be our E-Wreckage World segment. I'm going to let you take it off here. I know there's some pictures here. I know there's definitely one that you wanted me to show, and I'm going to show that. There's another one, just yell at me. But I'm going to have you just share what's been happening in E-Wreckage's life. Show that too. Show that beauty right there. Whenever
Oh, yes,
you want to. But show that. I'm going to put it on. Well, I'm going to put it on the top the picture, and then I'll put it on yourself. So here you go, man. Here you go. I'm just gonna.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So what you're looking at is the top albums in the world for April 23rd. And if I get number 7, that's me, Wreckage, with my release of Ocean and Crystal Blue. So those are my 2 top songs. I released them as a 2-song album. So that's why they're on the album charts. But really, these 2 songs are what I consider to staple my discography. Isaiah knows that I started Ocean back in high school as my draft. And in college, it formulated. It's a full song, story behind it. And then Crystal Blue, I started around 2022, 2023. Wrote that about just happy times, about beaches, about summer, and finding that place of paradise happiness. So 2 songs I'm really proud of. And yeah, I'm really honored to be up there with, some of the biggest artists in the world. We got Lady Gaga at number 3. So it was awesome. We got ABBA up there. And then we got E-Wreckage.
Yes. Now you got a little something there as well. I'm gonna put it just your camera here. What is that?
Yep. So this is my official award for being top 10 in the world.
Wow.
Yep. Worldwide iTunes. So it's amazing. Really like this hardware, and it's a big honor. So really appreciate it.
That's great. We're gonna give another applause there. Applause to E-Wreckage. Yeah, just an amazing accomplishment. You deserve it. You worked so hard for all of it. So yeah, big props to you. Was that 5 big booms? Is that like the biggest thing? Like the RZA does, like 5 big booms.
That's it. Out of 5.
Out of 5. That's 5 big booms right there. So congrats, and we'll see where it leads you. It's gonna be good stuff. You got another One in the World for you if you want to share that.
Yes. So we talked a little about the NFL draft, and we talked a little about Sanders. So actually, before he was drafted officially, Sanders got a call, and that call is from Jax Ulbrich, which is the 21-year-old son of Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich. And apparently, Jax came across Sanders' number on his dad's iPad, and he took it down, and he called Sanders as a prank and told him, posing as the general manager for, I think it was the Giants, but he basically said, like, hey, we're going to take you next. And then he's like, oh, never mind. You have to wait.
Yeah.
So it was a big viral prank that went, Instagram, Facebook, all that. So what do you think about this prank?
Yeah, not good. I mean, when you think about all of what Shador I guess endured in the draft with him expecting to go top 5, then at least in the first round, and then continue to drop and drop. And then this kid, you know, pranking him. Yeah, if I were in Shador's shoes, I would be livid, beyond, whatever. And then, but then for his dad, to just have that out there, the number to show, you got to be a little more aware. Even if you think your son is holy and is innocent and would never do X, Y, or Z. Well, now he did, and now you guys got fined like $200,000. You got fined $200,000. The Falcons got fined like $250,000, something like that. And so yeah, it's the kid. The kid hopefully will learn from this. He probably was seeking attention. He did get it, but maybe not for the right reasons. So yeah, not a great look for them. But I think Shador is okay. He'll be okay. He's probably forgotten about this already.
Yeah, same thing. I think he said like, "Oh, I already moved on from that." Like, for him, no big deal. He got drafted. It's a happy ending. But still, a 21-year-old kid, like, he knows better not to do that.
Yeah.
So I hope his dad doesn't face like any repercussions for it. I'm sure his dad wasn't like, he didn't say like, "Hey, can you call this guy?" Like,
yeah. To like,
but his son needs to like make sure he learns from this.
100%. Yeah. Don't do anything like this again. Or anything close. Like, just don't do something stupid. I'll go into mine. I already mentioned this a little bit, but JJ Redick, coach of the Lakers, played his full starting 5 in Game 4 against the Timberwolves, and I'll go a little deeper. You did it when you had Luka Doncic, who, we could talk about the whole Zion Williamson effect with Luka. I think we could have the same joke about him. I'm telling you, he's not in shape. I think someone said on the NBA TNT cast that he's got like the body of a 40-year-old. I mean, I'm just saying. But then LeBron James too. Like, yeah, he's one of the greatest, but he's also 40 plus, and can't be playing those minutes. So I think that was a little experience from JJ, and just Again, I mean, you don't have anyone on your bench, sure, but you got to give those guys a minute break, 2-minute break, or something, to at least give you life down the road. But learning mistake from JJ, and again, as a whole, for him coaching this season, he's done fantastic. So I'm not knocking. It's seen as a low, but honestly, they probably would have lost the series anyway. Even if they rotated more, and they would have lost this game probably still, and and be in the same place. So JJ's like, just give me players, just give me more depth, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
So I think the general manager for the Lakers is gonna make some moves the offseason. I know people joke about it, but GM LeBron, that is a talent. I think it's getting able to recruit good players is a talent itself, and I think if LeBron is able to still do that 4 years old, it'll be really cool to see what they can collaborate on and see what they can do.
Yeah, for sure. And again, you mentioned the whole money thing. If he's not gonna give up money, then how good of a GM is he gonna be? So again, a skill, and just how much do you want to win? How much do you want to win with this team? Because I don't know, is LeBron gonna? There's no chance he's going to another team, right? He's retiring a Laker, right, Eric? Right?
Cavaliers, maybe.
What did you say?
I'm just saying Cavaliers are first in the East, I think. And that just happens to be where he's from, and he might have a house there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of be cool, but I don't want to see LeBron in the East, man. I'm good. Stay in the West. Stay out there. West Coast, all right? Nicer weather out there. Stay there.
Like you said, the good solution is just come to the Celtics. We have 5 great starters.
No.
We got a 6-man of the year, like LeBron. He can just sit back, relax, put on a Hawaiian shirt, and just kind of enjoy the action. And play a couple minutes.
Let's move on. On that note, to our mailbag segment. Now, Eric, I'm just gonna have you have the question, and then I'm gonna go through my whole thing. Just go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So this is actually a question that's going viral on social media.
Yeah.
You may have seen on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. But the big question for today is, who would win in a fight, 100 men or one gorilla?
Yeah, so I saw that initially in the notes, and I had no idea about this trend. I had no idea. And the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, this is gonna be another question that's gonna revolve around, me and having a girlfriend or something. Like, is this gonna come back to like, this theme of mailbag? Is it gonna come back? But then, because we had this break because we couldn't come last week, I saw all the memes and stuff, and I'm like, what is where did this come from? Like, what is 100 men versus? I see all the simulations about it and stuff. Do you know where this question came? Like, do you know where this trend started?
I think it's just one guy who posted it on X, and like just people responded to it, and then people made other memes about it, and it just kind of branched out from there.
So that's all you gotta do to be famous? Is just post one question about, and then you get man. What's gonna be our question for Barely Friends? We gotta add it to the poll then. If we're gonna make a poll, we gotta add some question like that. But that's gonna be trendy. What are we gonna ask?
Gotta brainstorm. I have no idea.
Yeah, we gotta think about it. But if I'm going like, because then you gotta think too. What 100 men, right? We talk about WWE. Wrestlers talk about my size men. Like what are we talking about? So that it all factors in there.
Like we're talking about no offense, Ryan, Jamie, Noah Branco. Like who are we talking?
But do we have weapons? Do we not? I mean, obviously, probably not.
In that case,
right.
it'd all be effective.
Right. Even my psychiatrist friend, Josh Kim, shout out to Josh Kim. He was like, like if there's a fear factor, like the first 10 men are fearful, like, oh no, we're not gonna fight, and everyone else is gonna flee, and then they'll. So I don't know if I'm gonna just pick out, just like that. 100 men, sure, 100 men. I think that's just numbers wise. But who knows?
Yeah, I do think there'll be at least like 15 fatalities.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are joking like, oh, as long as I'm not like number one.
Right. Yeah. In the front, in the front, be the back. Yeah. Well, watch what you say. Everyone's throwing you from the back to the front. All right. Yeah. That's what I got.
Yeah. I guess we'll circle back to you dating.
No, we don't have to.
So like instead of a gorilla, like you
no,
and 100 women fighting over your affection, like Fortnite.
Yeah. I took the L. Okay, at the end of the day, I took the L. All right, that's all that equation adds up to. Let's go to my question as we start to conclude here. Again, going back to the draft. Can you think of a worse moment in a draft, any sports draft particularly, than what happened to Sanders?
I don't know necessarily worse, but you talk about drafting players. The Browns have to be one of the worst teams to draft. They picked Tim Couch over Donovan McNabb in 1999. They picked Johnny Manziel, who quickly burned out and had his overseas career.
Yeah.
And then Sanders, we'll see how it pans out, but they just made a lot of bad decisions.
For sure. Yeah, not again. Organizationally, has not been great. I just found this one on the internet because I didn't really know how to answer my own question. But apparently the Raiders picked a punter in the first round in 1977. Which, if that happened in this era of NFL, he would have to be like Shohei Ohtani, like playing wide receiver too. Like he can't just be a punter. But that would be insane if a punter got picked in the first round today. But even if it is the 70s, I don't think you should pick a punter in the first round. He probably had better value there. But yeah, there's no other similar thing to what has happened to Shedeur. Pretty wild for him overall. So, but yeah, that's how we'll conclude. The Celtics will, when you see this episode, have already played game 1, but it'll be, I don't know, game 2 or game 3 or something. Hopefully we're up 1-0, 2-0 then. But thanks for joining episode 16. My name's Isaiah.
My name's Eric.
Listen to E-Wreckage on iTunes, all other platforms. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, y'all.
Peace.
If you ever take me off the shelf, your eyes are